I want you to meet somebody who I think is absolutely remarkable. It's John Goodden. Morning.
Good morning.
Look at your little face, you've gone all modest. John is a surgeon, and he works at the Leeds Children's Hospital at the LGI. And the surgery that you and your team are pioneering there is life-changing. Tell me what you're doing.
It's an amazing operation called Selective Dorsal Rhizotomy, and lots of people abbreviate that to SDR because it's easier to say. It's an operation where I cut some of the nerves in the lower back of a child with cerebral palsy, and it takes away the stiffness in their legs and helps them to walk more easily.
Now, this was unthinkable, and we all have an image of what it's like when you see a child with cerebral palsy trying to walk or not being able to have much mobility. And we're going to meet Isabel, one of your patients, later, who you're letting out today in time for Christmas. I think she's only 5. The difference your surgery makes is highly technical, and it's quite risky. I mean, you really, thank heavens, you know what you're doing. Because when you've made that incision in the back, you've got to make a decision which you're going to cut, really. It's a bit like bomb disposal, but the other way around. How do you know? How do you know what to do?
It's when you first open up, you have a jumble of nerves in front of you, but the nerves that are most on the surface are the nerves that need to be separated away. The nerves that are just a little bit deeper are the movement control nerves. And so, yes, if they get cut, then you take away function. So that's where it's really tricky. But I also have some very clever machinery and a clever colleague in theatre who's monitoring the nerve function, who can tell me that these nerves are the right nerves to be cutting and these nerves are the nerves I need to keep safe.
When you see the results of what you and your team do, so when that child is in recovery or getting out of the anaesthetic and they realise, and their mum and dads realise, that their child can... What's that like?
Oh, it's fantastic. Every time it's fantastic. Particularly the mothers, but all the parents are used to doing stretches for their children to try and keep them more supple. But despite that, the legs are really stiff, and they're used to just fighting that stiffness every time. And immediately after the operation, that stiffness is gone. And I encourage the parents afterwards to just put their hands under the sheets and just give their child's legs a little wiggle. And the look on the parents' faces at that point is just absolutely priceless.
Do you cry? I'd cry. I know, the mums must cry.
I don't cry, but I do grin inanely. It's just fantastic.
I think you're allowed. Am I right in that you're pioneering this, that it is groundbreaking, it hasn't been done before? So I'm assuming the success of you and your team might be replicated somewhere else?
Yes, it's been done in other parts of the world for a good number of years, but it's only been done in the UK for a very short time. And the NHS England only started a process to allow us to do that this summer. So only a few have been done by the NHS so far, and it's part of an evaluation where hopefully, if we can provide the evidence to NHS England that it is safe and that it is effective, that it will then be able to be open to a few more children as well.
And it changes lives.
Absolutely.
It allows a child to have a quality of life.
Yeah.
And a family to have a quality of life they never would have had.
Yeah, we get children, a lot of children who come to us are walking with bulky frames around them to help give them some support. And they can progress from there to walking with possibly canes or possibly independently walking without needing to have aids. And that makes a huge difference.
The first time you did that operation, and I know you're a highly skilled neurosurgeon, you're a neurologist, a paediatric neurologist, but the first time you're scrubbed up, you've got your patient in front of you, you know what you've got to do. Do you get nervous?
First time, absolutely I was nervous, because if the very first time I did this, everything went wrong, then I wouldn't be doing it anymore. Now that I've done a few, it's a much more straightforward thing, and my team around me are much more used to it as well. But it does feel fundamentally wrong, because I've spent my life training how to preserve nerve function, and suddenly I'm deliberately going in and deliberately cutting nerves, and it's kind of the wrong way round for me, but it produces such fantastic results for the kids. It's absolutely the right thing to be doing.
I am in awe. You should get a very big present at Christmas because you've been very, very good. How's that? Will that do it for you? Thanks for coming in.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for all you're doing. I'm looking forward to meeting Isabel and her mum and dad, who you've allowed to go home for Christmas. It's miraculous.
It's fantastic.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you, John Goodden, Mr. John Goodden. He is a consultant paediatric neurologist at the Leeds LGI. What a great story.
West Yorkshire Travel.